Hello and welcome to Indian Gamer YouTube channel. So in this video I'll be showing you top 5 open world games for your low-end PC. In order to run these games smoothly, your PC must have at least 4GB RAM, a dual-core processor. Before starting the video, I want to tell you all that I'm starting a 7 days challenge where I'll be uploading videos daily for 7 days for only you guys, so be sure to like and subscribe my channel. This is my first day of the challenge, so now let's get started, but after the intro. So on number 5 spot we have Call of Juarez the Gunslinger. Call of Juarez, Gunslinger is a Western-themed first-person shooter video game. Call of Juarez, Gunslinger is a linear first-person shooter game. Like the previous Call of Juarez games, the game consists of completing objectives to progress through the game. Staple gameplay elements of the series such as bullet time and gunslinger duels make a return. A novel element is the occasional ability to dodge bullets via a quick-time event. The player can earn experience points and level up their skills, specializing in either dual pistols, shotguns, or rifles. The game allows the player to carry their accumulated skills over 3 plays, so they can eventually fully master all categories. The story levels take place in the imagination of one of the bar patrons, as Silas Greaves, an unreliable narrator, relates his travels. As his audience challenges the lies and inconsistencies in his tales, Silas revises his story, which results in abrupt changes to game environment, such as the sudden appearance and disappearance of an Apache army. Aside from the story mode, there is an arcade mode wherein the player can fight off waves of enemies, and a duel mode where they can have a series of classic gunslinger showdowns. So definitely worth a try. So on number 4 spot we have Saints Row 3. Saints Row, the Third is an action-adventure game played from the third-person perspective in an open world, such that players explore an unrestricted environment. Similar to the premise of the previous Saints Row games, the player's goal is to lead the Third Street Saints gang to overtake its rival gangs in the city turf war. While the protagonist is the same, the game introduces a new setting, the city of Steelport, with its new gangs, the Morning Star, Luchadors, and Deckers, together known as the Syndicate. To further complicate matters, the government's Special Tactical Anti-Gang Unit, STAG, is summoned to quell both organizations. The Third is the first in the series to intertwine the narratives of its 3 gang structures, and also presents the player with story-altering decisions. In combat, players select weapons from the weapons selection wheel, 14E, including regular pistols, submachine guns, shotguns, and rocket launchers, alongside special weapons such as UAV drones and a fart-in-a-jar stun grenade. Player melee attacks include running attacks such as DDTs and a purple dildo bat. 15. Players may use vehicles to navigate the city, including a hoverjet, known as the F-69 TIL, and a pixelated retro game tank that are unlocked through story missions. Once special vehicles are unlocked, they are an unlimited supply and can be delivered directly to the player character's location. Player actions are intensified with what Volition calls the awesome button, where for example the player will dive kick through the windshield into the driver's seat of a car. The main story campaign missions can be played alone, or cooperatively, either online or via system link offline. Some elements are added to the campaign for the second player. There is no competitive multiplayer, but a wave-based survival mode called Horde mode that supports up to 2 players. So definitely worth a try. So on number 3 spot we have Mafia 2. The game is played from a third-person perspective and its world is navigated on foot or by vehicle. The player character's criminal activities may incite a response from law enforcement agencies, measured by a wanted system that governs the aggression of their response. The driving of this game is not that much good, but cops system is very realistic in this game. The game is set in the 1940s early 1950s era of Empire Bay, a fictional city based on New York City, Chicago, San Francisco, Los Angeles, Boston, and Detroit. There are 50 vehicles in the game as well as licensed music from the era. Depending on the weather during the course of the game, vehicles handle differently. For example, during the early chapters in winter, vehicles are more likely to slip on the road due to the ice. Many firearms from the previous game return, such as the Thompson submachine gun and Colt 1911, as well as a pump-action shotgun. New World War II-era weapons, the MG42 and the Beretta Model 38, also appear in the game. The shooting of this game also felt so real. So definitely worth a try. So on number 2 spot we have Far Cry 3. The game takes place on the fictional Rook Islands, a tropical archipelago which can be freely explored by players. Gameplay focuses on combat and exploration. Players can use a variety of weapons to defeat human enemies and hostile wildlife, and the game features elements found in role-playing games such as skill trees and experience. After a vacation goes awry, protagonist Jason Brody must save his friends, who have been kidnapped by pirates, and escape from the island and its unhinged inhabitants. The game features a 4-player cooperative multiplayer mode, which is set 6 months before the events of the main game. The mode features 5 different classes: warrior, rusher, deadeye, saboteur or bodyguard. Players can customize each class's loadouts and weapons. In multiplayer, players can activate Battle Cry, which boosts the team's health, accuracy and running speed. The game includes competitive multiplayer modes including Team Deathmatch and Domination, in which 2 teams compete against each other to capture control points. There is also Transmission, a domination variant in which the control points are radio transmitters that change location. In Firestorm, a team needs to ignite 2 fuel dumps held by another team while protecting their own from being set on fire. Killing enemies successively, reviving team members and utilizing Battle Cry grant players team support points, which can be used to unlock perks like Psyche Gas, which causes enemies to hallucinate all players as shadows. The game features a map editor that allows users to create and share custom content. Players can create their maps by customizing landscapes, and by placing buildings, trees, vehicles and units controlled by AI. So on number 1 spot we have GTA 4. GTA 4 is the best game ever made. The physics of this game is best told now in my opinion. I highly recommend you to play this game with some sort of mods. The list of mods will be listed in the description and in comment section with download links. Grand Theft Auto 4 is an action-adventure game played from a third-person perspective. Players complete missions, linear scenarios with set objectives, to progress through the story. It is possible to have several active missions running at one time, as some require players to wait for further instructions or events. Outside of missions, players can freely roam the game's open world and complete optional side missions. Composed of the fictional city of Liberty City, the world is larger in area than most earlier Grand Theft Auto series entries. At the beginning of the game, players can only explore the first island, composed of dukes and broker, with all other islands unlocking as the story progresses. An online multiplayer mode is included with the game, allowing up to 32 players to engage in both cooperative and competitive gameplay in a recreation of the single-player setting. Players use melee attacks, firearms and explosives to fight enemies, and may run, jump, swim or use vehicles to navigate the game's world. There is a first-person perspective option when using vehicles. In combat, auto-aim and a cover system can be used as assistance against enemies. Should players take damage, their health meter can be fully regenerated by eating, using medical kits, or calling for paramedics. If players commit crimes, the game's law enforcement agencies may respond as indicated by a wanted meter in the head-up display, HUD. On the meter, that displayed stars indicate the current wanted level. For example, at the maximum 6-star level, efforts by law enforcement to incapacitate players become very aggressive. Law enforcement officers will search for players who leave the wanted vicinity. The wanted meter enters a cool-down mode and eventually recedes when players are hidden from the officer's line of sight. So definitely worth a try. Hope you liked today's video. Please like and subscribe this video for more such content. and I will uploading videos straight for 7 days for only you guys, so be sure to add a good comment for shoutout in my next video and for motivation for me to uploading videos daily. Keep calm and just play games.